Assalamu alaikum friends. In today's video, I'll be talking about one of the most important concepts of economics, that is GDP. To begin with, GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. It's a word that you might have heard quite often, whether on news, social media, newspaper, or through your books. Today, I'll try to explain what is this GDP and how is it calculated. There is no particular definition we use when we have to define GDP, but we define GDP through the methods we use to calculate it. There are three methods of calculating GDP. The first is the production or product method. According to this method, GDP is calculated as the market value of all the final goods and services produced by all the producing units within the domestic territory of a country during an accounting year. Here I use the word final goods and services. This distinction is necessary as the goods that are produced in an economy are often classified as final goods and intermediate goods. While calculating GDP, we only consider the value of final goods and services and not intermediate goods, because the value of intermediate goods ultimately merges with the value of final goods, and if we calculate the value of intermediate goods also, it will be duplication in the estimation of GDP, leading to the double counting. The second method is the income method. According to this method, GDP is calculated as the sum total of factor incomes earned by the residents of a country during an accounting year. Income method accounts for only factor income, corresponding to which there is a flow of goods and services in the economy, and thus it does not account for incomes like old age pensions, unemployment allowances, scholarships, and pocket expenses, corresponding to which there is no value addition in the economy. The third method is the expenditure method. According to this method, GDP is measured in terms of the expenditure on the purchase of final goods and services produced in the economy during an accounting year. This expenditure is classified into four categories: private final consumption expenditure, government final consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, and net exports. Net exports is the difference between exports and imports of a country. When we add all these components, we get the GDP of that country. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with me. I appreciate you for your time and attention.